Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's John with Midrange TCG, and today I want to talk to you guys about some new updates to the Guilds of Ravnica spoilers. Right now it's about 8:43 in the morning, uh, and I noticed we got a couple new spoilers, so I just want to get into them really quickly. First, we have Swiftblade Vindicator, so it's red and white for a 1/1 double strike vigilance trample. Pretty cool, really, pretty cool. Just the fact that it's double strike and trample means you could use like a pump spell with this card, and that'll essentially just make it really big. You can sort of like throw enchantments on it, also make it really strong. And just the fact that it's double strike trample means that your opponent takes the remaining damage even after the creature's died. So, really cool card. I think this is one of the cards that red white does absolutely need in order to sort of push them into the right direction. So, I don't know if I talked about any of these other ones. Oh no, I stopped at Blood Operative last time. Okay, so Elf Knight. So Elf Knight is a 1 green white, I believe it's a 2/2, and it says when this creature dies, make 2. Doesn't it make 2? Oh no, I'm sorry. Whenever it attacks, you can tap any number of untapped creatures you control. This card gets +1/+1 for each creature tapped this way until the end of turn. So like a pump spell. Unfortunately, it doesn't have protection, doesn't have like hexproof or anything like that, so it makes it a little bit harder to play around. But the fact that you get to play this card on, Sapling on turn 2, Sapling Migration on turn 2, and then you get to play this 2 mana or 3 mana 2/2 on turn 3, and then turn 4 essentially you get to play Spore Swarm, or on turn 3, you play Spore Swarm. Turn 4 you play this card. Turn 5 you tap 5 of them. This becomes a 7/7. Pretty good. Unfortunately, it doesn't have Trample, so that kind of sucks. The other ability, the 3 green white, make a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink, is pretty good. Just sort of like a mana sink. Also, it's just good for like developing your board, especially when you play against control. What they need to do is they need to either have a board clear, or they need to have something that sort of removes this card before it becomes a threat. And so it's really easy for this card to sort of just get out of control, especially if, like, even late game. This card's applications, just because it's a 3 mana that makes another 1/1 body. If your opponent doesn't counter it, so there's also that. Also, you can tap the creature next turn and just give it a +1/+1. So it's essentially 5 mana, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, which isn't bad. It also makes a lifelink token, which means it's really good against aggro. So I think this card's actually, like, depending on the situation, I think this card's actually pretty good. Definitely, I think it deserves to be in the uncommon slot. If it was a 3 mana 3/3, it'd definitely be a rare. So I do think that card's pretty good. Next, the card that we have is Giant Soldier, and a very generic name. 4 red white for a 5/5 vigilance. Whenever it attacks, it deals 1 damage to each creature defending player controls. Pretty cool ability. Just the fact that it's a 6 mana creature makes it a lot harder to play. But nonetheless, being able to ping your opponent's cards for 1 damage every time it attacks is pretty good. Especially, thankfully, Soulscar Mage is rotating out. Otherwise, dealing effect damage in terms of -1/-1 counters, this card would be actually very good, especially because you could play this. You play red, splash white, and then you would have been able to, just play this card, play Goblin Chainwheeler, and just you can have like a dedicated red deck, splash a little bit of white, which would essentially make this card like super good, just because it'll just continuously deal -1/-1 counters to pretty much everything on the board. So, pretty cool card, but I think it's a little expensive and not really that great of a card. Outside of probably draft format. Next, we've got Conclave Cavalry. Now, this is the card I was talking about. So, green, white for a 4/4, and it has Vigilance. Whenever Conclave Cavalry dies, make 2 green and white elf creature tokens with Vigilance. Make sure they're 2/2s. So, really awesome. Just the fact that it seems like the Elf Knights that they're pushing for with Vigilance is to help support the whole the mechanic, which essentially you tap all your guys. I forget what it's called. You tap all your creatures, and then you essentially pay for the mana cost of a bigger creature. So, pretty cool card. Yeah, but other than that, I think just the fact that it's a 4 mana 4/4 that replaces itself with 2 2/2s is really good, because this is essentially a 4 mana 8/8 on 3 different bodies, and they all have Vigilance, so that's really good. Absolutely gonna pick up a couple of these cards myself. This card's really good for Selesnya, especially the casting cost as well, especially with the Shocklands. Also, like the Shocklands plus the Checklands coming in together, those will have really good synergies with one another. Unfortunately, we won't get the cycling ability because those have rotated out, but at that point, Shocklands will still be good because they can essentially enter tapped, or they can enter untapped if you take 2 damage. So, next we've got Crackling Drake. So this is the Enigma Drake, pretty much. Crackling Drake's power is equal to the total number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard and in exile. And then when it enters battlefield, draw a card. Pretty cool. I'm pretty sure there's like some sort of ability that you can use with like Siren Storm Tamer, so where you can like flicker this card and you get that draw card ability. And also like it acts as like protection. Excuse, not Siren Storm Tamer. Siren's Ruse. Probably just a really cool card. Also just the fact that, you know, Crackling Drake, ETB, you know, draw a card, and then ETB, its power is equal to the total number of sorceries you own in exile, instants you own in exile, and both in the graveyard. So that makes it so much better when you're playing the Surveil mechanic, or when you're playing, I believe it was Mission Debriefing. This card down here. Oh, it's on the next page. But Mission Debriefing, like, Mission Briefing, like one of the best cards in the set, honestly. Probably the best in-slot rare of Guilds of Ravnica. The Snapcaster, not on a stick, but also has Surveil too, which is also really good. And I think honestly, just being able to pitch another 2 cards into your graveyard, and then also, you know, giving it a +2/+2 if it's 2 instants and sorceries, and then being able to exile a card and still get the bonus effect, I think that's really good. Also, this card is not hit by graveyard hate, if you really think about it, right? It's also in exile, so this card's really good against, you know, the counter matchups where your opponent will be playing cards like, you know, Sentinel Totem, right? Which is what? Tap, sack, exile all cards from all players' graveyards. So, Crackling Drake, excuse me, really good card. Honestly, I think this card's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Not probably better than Enigma Drake. I think, yeah, I'm sorry, it's better than Enigma Drake. 1 mana more, but you get to draw a card when it enters the battlefield, and it's unaffected by cards in exile. We just talked about Swiftly Vindicator, so moving on to Hunted Witness. So this is a white for a 1/1. When it dies, make a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. So this is sort of like the white version of the 2 mana 1/1 that when it dies makes it a 2/2 zombie. It's sort of like that. But card's okay. I don't think there's really anything that you'd want to play it in. Maybe you can play it in Orzhov. I understand you definitely could play this in Orzhov because you do have abilities to say, like, you know, sack a target permanent, right? Draw a card or stuff like that, right? So pretty cool because it makes a soldier token with lifelink, and I think that's much better. Also, getting hit by a board wipe while having Hunted Witness on the field makes it not so bad because you still get, you know, a 1/1 white soldier token left, and the lifelink ability is kind of better. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just the 1 mana 1/1, very generic. Nothing else to say about it. Next, you've got Long Way Home. So this card was not translated properly. It says 3 green sorcery, but yes, it is 3 and a green for a sorcery speed spell that says, when this card enters the battlefield, you can search your library for 2 basic lands or 2 gates and put them onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Now this card is absolutely insane if you really think about it. This card plus the Summit, the other card in Guilds of Ravnica, which says, you know, when it enters the battlefield, draw a card for every gate you have, and then you can also tap any number of gates to draw that many cards, I believe. No, I'm sorry. It's when it enters the battlefield, draw a number of cards equal to the number of gates that are untapped that you control, and then whenever a gate enters the battlefield, draw a card. So you essentially get to play this. So you get to play 4 mana, put 2 gates on the battlefield, draw 2 cards. Isn't that awesome? I honestly think that's so cool. You can play this in Sultai. Like, this is absolutely amazing because this is a hard ramp spell that gives you access to gates, which gives you access to draw spells, which also gives you access to more draw cards. And this is absolutely awesome in terms of like synergy with the gates. This card plus the Summit is really cool, honestly. Blue green, one of the very few cards that isn't being played. Merfolk might see this actually, just because they do need that draw power, right? And every time I get into this battlefield, even if it enters tapped, it's still a good card. It just draws you 2, right? So I think that's really awesome, absolutely awesome. Next we've got Omnispell Add Up, so 4 and a blue for a 3/4 Human Wizard. 2 and a blue, you may cast an instant or sorcery from your hand without paying its mana cost. That is actually pretty good. Imagine being able to play this with, you know, I don't know, Apex of Power? Hello? Apex of Power? I'm sorry, what? That's absolutely insane, right? And it says cast from your hand. Apex of Power says when you cast a card from your hand, you get 10 mana. So what you're doing is you're paying 3 mana, tapping this, to play Apex of Power for free, to get 10 mana, so you can cast more of your burn spells off the top of your deck. How insane is that? Honestly, how insane is that? I mean, sure, it's 5 mana, but imagine playing this in a red-blue-green deck, right? Imagine playing that. Imagine playing it in Temur. Temur Burn, absolutely insane, because this will search for your gate cards, your gate cards will draw you cards, and you eventually draw into Apex of Power, and then you can play this card, next turn, you play Apex of Power, and you're just going off. And you can also play cards like Dive Down, which just sort of protect her. Absolutely. You can play cards like Dive Down that protect her. right? So the turn she comes out, you just hold up a single mana. So your turn 6, you play this card, hold up a mana, right? Turn 7 rolls around, your opponent goes, okay, like, go to you. You just go, okay, untap, 3 tap, Apex of Power. I am now sitting on, what is it, 14, what is it, you were at 7 mana? Alright, 7 minus 3, you're at 4, plus the 10 red mana from Apex of Power. You know how many burn spells you can cast? That's insane. And then on top of that, you know, if you get like another Apex of Power, if you have like 2 copies, absolutely insane. Right, next turn, just do it again. The card's absolutely cool. I think it's a little pricey. 5 mana for a 3/4 is definitely pricey. This card's inherently better than the Gin of Wishes or whatever they're called. But because that card's pretty much the same. It's like 5 mana. Look at the top card of your deck for like 3 mana or something like that, and then you can reveal it. If you do, you can cast it this turn without paying its mana cost. But the thing is, you're not playing it from your hand. Omnispell Adept says you get to play it from your hand, which is exactly what, you know, which is exactly what Apex of Power wants. Absolutely, it's absolutely what it wants. So I can see this card potentially being played in like a very high, like a late game Izzet card, or this could be like a sideboard card. Honestly, it could be like a very cool sideboard card, right? It's also really cool because it's an instant or sorcery, right? That's really cool because this is an instant speed ability. So you get to cast, I believe, if I remember correctly, the mechanics work as you can play 2 blue, tap, cast an instant or sorcery card from your hand without paying its mana cost. Unless they add that additional clause where it says you can only activate this ability as a sorcery speed. I think that's what they're missing, because otherwise being able to cast an instant or sorcery card from your hand without paying its mana cost, you can't play this during your opponent's turn, right? You can only play instants, but I think that's where you want to go, is you want to play the instants without paying the mana cost. Next we have Trostani Discordant. So this is 3 green white. It's a legendary dryad. Other creatures get +1/+1 when it enters the battlefield. Make 2 1/1 white soldier tokens with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. Okay, so that's kind of okay. I see. That makes sense. Okay, so this card is very odd. The third clause is very odd. Obviously, we're gonna play this. We're playing against, you know, this card's really good against like cards that steal, that your opponents will steal. An example like Hostage Taker. Sure, this card's actually not bad. Each player gains control of all creatures they own. So if I own Hostage Taker, or excuse me, if you own Hostage Taker, but you know, an example, my Lyra Dawnbringer is under your control, I get it back. I believe that's what it means. So 5 mana for 1/4. I think that's okay. It's a banner card, which is kind of cool. It's much easier to cast than like a Benelish Marshal, right? And it is a legendary as well, so you can't like spam multiple copies. But just 5 mana for 1/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+1, and it also makes 2 white soldier creature tokens when it enters the battlefield. I think that's the most important part, is that it makes the soldier tokens, because that sort of enables the Selesnya mechanic a little bit more. That's definitely something that you do want. I think it's a little too pricey. 5 mana for 1/4 is a little pricey, but being a mythic, I don't know if I can get behind that. I think it's a little too slow for like a regular deck, but I mean, being able to Huatli Emblem, play this card on turn 5 and drawing 3 cards is pretty good, actually. I think that's probably like the best mode for it, and like all of your creatures get +1/+1. But other than that, it's a very okay card. Honestly, for Mythic, it's a very okay card. Next we have Connive to Concoct. Connive and Concoct. So Connive says gain control of target creature with power 2 or less. I'm assuming that there's not going to be an errata. There was an errata change with the previous card from Izzet, which was like, you know, change the power and toughness of up to 2 creatures, and they had to errata it, and it had to say until the end of turn. I don't know if this one says gain control of target creature with power 2. Oh, it's 4 mana. No, you get to gain control of it. So it's 4 mana. So 2 Dimir colors, and gain control of target creature with power 2 or less. And then Connacht says 3 Dimir, Surveil 3, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I think the second ability is probably where you want to be. The revival card, because it also says return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I think that's really cool, because what you can do is essentially you can like return a Nicol Bolas, right? You can return like sort of like a boss creature, something like maybe a flyer. You can return a Muldrotha for 5 mana. You know how insane that is? That's so cool, considering most of the time being able to return a creature card is not inherently in the blue-black mechanic. It's in the green mechanic, because it has to do with life, right? Life and death. And so Concoct is actually pretty cool. I like the second mode better than the first. Gaining control of a target creature with power 2 or less is whatever. I mean, it could work potentially for, like, there was that Minotaur that was released where it was like a 0/8, like a 4 mana 0/8 or a 3 mana 0/8. You could take control of that, right? And because you're playing Dimir, you're playing a bunch of creatures that have, or excuse me, you're playing a bunch of instant sorcery speeds. So every time you cast an instant or sorcery speed, give it +2/+0, or give it +X/+0, where X is the converted mana cost. So I think Connive could be like a sideboard card against red. I don't think it's going to be like really strong. Also because it's 4 mana. It's kind of expensive. Honestly, it's kind of expensive. But I think the concoct part is definitely where you want to be for this card. So definitely be on the lookout for this card. I think this card is actually probably going to be very good in like a Sultai reanimation deck. Next, we've got Ritual of Soot. So 2 black, sorcery speed, destroy all creatures with CMC 3 or less. Oh my god, this is a modern staple, probably for black. CMC 3 or less. This is essentially, I get to kill pretty much every single human card. All creature cards with CMC 3 or less. That's absolutely insane. This card deals with humans. Honestly, really cool card. Kind of shitty because what they're doing is essentially they're printing hosers, right? They've already printed some hosers for Tron, like that goblin, the 2 mana goblin that has 1 tap, sack it, destroy target, colorless permanent. That's already extremely broken. And then we have like Ritual of Soot now, which pretty much kills humans. So I think what they're doing is they're changing the modern format up. This card's probably going to be around like $5-6 just because it'll probably be a staple in modern against humans, modern humans. So other than that, I don't think it has a lot of implications in standard, other than like it's a hoser for Selesnya, right? And that kind of sucks because we don't see a lot of hosers that come around, especially with something that's like, oh, I play certain colors. I play Selesnya. Cool. Your deck is all converted mana cost 3 or lower. I'm just gonna hose your field, right? It's a one-sided hose because if I'm playing Dimir, I'm usually playing cards that are up on the mana because early game I want to play counter spells. I want to be able to play cards that just sort of generate me card advantage. And then once I hit like 5, 6, 7 mana, that's where I can play on bangers. And just Ritual of Soot is just so shitty against Selesnya because it just says, hey, I see that nice board you've built up over the last 3 turns. I'm just gonna hose you, and then it just destroys them all. And because right now we don't have a card in standard other than Heroic Intervention, which is rotating out to sort of deal with the fact that all creatures with CMC 3 or less get destroyed. So I think this is a very unfair card. It's a very strong card, especially in black. And this could actually just potentially be really good in like a matchup where you're playing against like mono black aggro or like mono black zombies, right? Any sort of token deck, this kind of gets rid of, and it sort of makes me very upset, right? And I'll do another video on Ritual of Soot just because I personally don't think this card is very healthy for the format, but I guess Wizards needs to keep things under control, right? It would have been better if it said destroy all creatures that share the same type, right? If you want to hose something, hose entire tribals, hose tribal formats, right? Just go back on everything that you've done and just hose tribals, but I guess not. Next you have Glaive of the Guild pack, so 2 mana for an enchantment. For an artifact equipment, gets +1/+0 for each gate you control. It has Vigilance Menace, equipped for 3. It's very whatever. It's a very meh card. This card is pretty much like the Dark Blade, the Dark Demon Blade or something. Pretty much the one from Dominaria, which is like get +1/+0 for each land you control. Very same. Nothing really good. So I don't think this card's really going anywhere. Vigilance Menace is kind of cool, but just play Pirates. Watchers in the Mist, 3 blue for 3/4 flying. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 2. Kind of whatever. It's a common. And then last one, Creeping Chill, so 3 and a black. Creeping Chill deals 3 damage to each opponent. You gain 3 life. Whenever Creeping Chills is put into your graveyard from the library, you may exile it. If you do, Creeping Chills deals 3 damage to each opponent, and you gain 3 life. Okay. So pretty much this card's like an exile card. And what you want to do is you want to just bin it from the top of your graveyard, from the top of your library to the graveyard. So with like cards like Citrus Supplier, you can use cards like the Demon, the Mythic Demon. There's like pretty much a crap ton of just surveil cards that are in Dimir colors that sort of work with this. And this is essentially just, I bin this off the top of my deck. Let me just exile this card. I'll gain 3 life, you take 3 damage. So I think this card's pretty cool. Just the fact that you can play 4 copies in your deck, play Dimir, and even if you draw, deal 3 damage to each opponent, you gain 3 life. yeah, I think it's really good. So other than that, I'll probably do a video on Ritual of Soot and why I think it's a really bad card. But yeah, honestly, this card is pretty dumb. Pretty dumb. I'm not looking forward to playing against that. But what can I say? Oh, we got one more card. Maximum Velocity. I'm assuming this says target creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. For one. What does this card say? Target creature gets +1/+1 and haste until the end of turn. Oh, and jumpstart. Okay, cool. It's whatever. The card's okay. I'm assuming it's an instant speed spell. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, that's pretty much all we got right now. So, I'm like slightly just upset, slightly triggered from just seeing Ritual of Soot. But in any other case, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you do enjoy my content. If you guys have any questions, please do post them in the comments, and just let me know, like, what do you guys think of the releases for the 14th, right? Obviously, we're only so far in. We've already had so many cards, right? We've got like 7-8 pages worth of cards, probably more, and we're starting to see how Guilds of Ravnica is gonna come to be. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about Omnispell Adept. I honestly think this card is super cool. Let me know what you guys think about Long Road Home, because that would be awesome too. And then what do you guys think about Cackling Drake, Enigma Drake, with potential Is It Drake deck? That'd be kind of awesome, right? Having a flyer that's an X4, where X is the number of instant sorceries you control in your graveyard. And then Crackling also has, like, in exile. I think that's going to be awesome too. Let me know what you guys think. Once again, John with Mirror's TCG, signing out.